But I do want to start with an introduction of Mark Woods. I had the pleasure of meeting him through his wonderful, beautiful wife, Beth. Um, we were talking one time over the phone, and she was just telling me how he is 4 years in remission now from a terminal pancreatic cancer diagnosis. So I don't want to spoil it by saying anything else because he has a great story to tell. So I want to open it up now to Mark and thank you for blessing us here by doing this.
Oh, no problem. Anytime, anytime. So just to, kind of give the initial part of the story. Before I begin, I just want to give a real quick disclaimer. I am not now, nor have I been, or will I ever be a doctor. When I go through talking about all the medical stuff, please check with your personal care provider and all that good stuff. But I want to talk about just give you a real quick little bit of my background. I'm an old Army guy. I spent time with 101st Airborne with the Scout Sniper team, leading those guys. It was a lot of fun. Switched over to the Air Force thing for a while. And of course, the Air Force, having a sense of humor, they put me back to work for the Army. So it was a lot of fun. Retired in 2014 and just, did some different jobs. I was getting ready to start a farm in Mena, Arkansas. And unfortunately, my daughter, she got sick and we had to come back here to Shreveport so that she could receive care. And in the process of doing that, one afternoon, I just wasn't feeling well. I didn't know what was wrong. And I started bleeding internally. And what I mean, I started bleeding internally, I bled a lot internally. It got to the point where I was at the initial stages of hemorrhagic shock. Hemorrhagic shock, of course, is when you lose so much blood. When you go to stand up, you start getting dizzy. Me and the wife, we still kind of joke about that because, when that happened, it was in the morning. I was like, hey, go ahead and finish your coffee. And then, I think I need to go to the hospital. So now when we got to the hospital, we found out the doctors, they ran a bunch of scans to see what was going on. And they found out they had a stage 4 metastasized pancreatic cancer. Not the fast grower, but the slow grower, which is good. But the bad part is that the cancer was in a really bad spot. It was sitting right on top of, I can't remember the name of the vein, but it's a vein that runs up and down through your body. It was basically sitting right on top of that vein, and it was causing me to hemorrhage. A little bit bigger in egg size. I also had cancer on my liver, a good size. If you guys see on Miss Lisa's Facebook page, she actually posted a scan of it. Also had a spot on my kidney, adrenal gland, just multiple locations throughout my body. So now what was my reaction? We didn't, I don't think me and my wife really thought it was all that bad. But once we learned it was that bad, I started freaking out. She started freaking out, anxiety, overload. And I just, very, very upset, being told, hey, you're probably not going to leave this hospital alive. There's a good chance you're going to bleed out or you're going to have some serious issues with your liver. So I've never been a fan of, you just take your Bible and you open it up and you look at a verse. But I had my Bible sit in my lap and I opened it up and I saw Psalm 23 staring back at me. I looked at Psalm 23 and the first words that caught my eye were, the Lord is my shepherd. When I saw that, instant calm, everything's good, everything's covered. And then I talked to her and then she calmed down too. So, okay, we're good to go. We're calm. Now let's see what happens next. I slowly started getting better. The bleeding did stop, which is a huge win. The hospital we were at that point in time, they wanted to conduct a Whipple surgery. The Whipple surgery is basically they remove your pancreas. In my case, they would have had to remove the entire pancreas and a whole bunch of my insides. We decided not to go that route, go to MD Anderson. Now we went to MD Anderson. They said, well, if we do the Whipple surgery, it's probably going to kill you, so we're not going to go that route. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the strongest chemo on the market right now. You're going to take that orally. Okay, sounds great. Sounds good. What are my other options? What about option B and option C? No, that's your only option. What about radiation? What about this other stuff I read about? No, chemo's your only option. Okay. So I went through 2 rounds of chemo and it was horrible. I'd have to take 3 different stomach pills. I'd have to take I think it was roughly 3 hours before, an hour before, and 10 minutes before I take my chemo pills. I would take I would take those chemo pills, and it was so bad that if I didn't take the stomach stuff exactly the way it was supposed to be set up, I would projectile vomit. And I have never vomited that hard in my life. It was horrible. And it blew my mind. Okay, this stuff is so bad and making me so sick, but you're wanting me to take it in order to, and this is supposed to kill my cancer. Okay, great. Well, what about me? I mean, don't you think it might kill me instead? So we were kind of, excuse me, one moment. Coffee, good. So we're at a real difficult spot in my life. What do I do? What's the next step? This chemo thing's not going to work. They want me to take chemo, and I know the chemo, it's probably going to kill me first before they can do the Whipple surgery. If I do the Whipple surgery, that could kill me, or the cancer will just come back. So what happened is I went through a lot of prayer, trying to figure out, okay, God, what do I do next? And it was just on a crazy whim. I was sitting on the couch and I was going through Facebook, and I found this crispy cancer guy. Please forgive me. I'm going to refer to him a lot throughout this presentation. But crispy cancer guy started talking about holistic treatments, holistic methods, and that's basically the route that I went. I went the holistic method, and doctors didn't show me a whole lot of love. I didn't get a whole lot of love from them, which is, I kind of wanted a hug, but no, not happening. One doctor dismissed me out of his office. I went in there, I'm killing cancer, I'm doing this. He's like, have a nice day. We're done. The other doctor, he wouldn't talk to me. It was just his nurse that would talk to me. So yeah, didn't get a whole lot of love there.
I have a question.
Please.
So before you mentioned the verse that you saw, and that kind of you got strength from that. How was your faith before this happened?
My faith was very strong. It was strong. I don't think I don't think at that point I was where God wanted me to be. I think this whole cancer thing I went through was really that when I read that Psalm 23, that hit me hard. I mean, I've never to go from up here with anxiety to, completely calm, everything's fine, just like that, without any medication. That I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
My goodness. So I want to know what was going through your mind. You touched on it, but when the doctors were kind of dismissing you, not giving you the hugs, which often happens with people, what was going through your mind at that point?
God, I really needed guidance on what to do. I was kind of at an impasse. I mean, all the either that or just find more cancer doctor, find more, excuse me, oncologists, find more of those guys. But it just, yeah, I just wasn't getting a whole lot of love from those guys,
Got
which
it.
that in itself, 2 different doctors in 2 different cities. It's interesting. It's interesting.
So you're hearing or not getting what you need from the doctors, and you find crispy cancer.
Mhm.
So if you can tell us about that, what attracted you to his page, his information?
What attracted me is he took a completely different approach. And it was just a major, complete lifestyle change. Everything changes. If I could, I'd like to use the ambush analogy, or just an example. I spent time in the Army. We were always practicing ambushes. You got this trail, and you line up your guys on one side of the trail, and you got some other guys that walk down the trail, and you just attack them and surprise them, and you kill all the bad guys. And in essence, the when you do that, you don't use one set weapon, you use everything you got. So in my mind, in my frame of mind, the attitude that I was taking was that, okay, I'm not going to hit cancer, okay, well, I'm going to take more naps. That's going to kill the cancer. I'm not, it's going to be, 20 or 30, everything I can think of to throw at this thing. I want naval guns. I want Air Force dropping stuff, tanks. I just want a big, gigantic smoking hole in the ground where this cancer used to be. That's what I want. Just complete overwhelming force. So not one protocol. And what the mission I had in my mind is stop it first. Stop the metastasis, no more spreading. And then I need to get into remission. My biggest concern at that point is I need to regain control of my liver. And that's where all these protocols came into place. Crispy Cancer really set up a foundation for me to figure out this holistic thing. Once I had the Crispy Cancer, I watched all 10 of the modules and I got notes going everywhere. I watched that, then I got an NIH, National Institute of Health. NIH has studies on there, and there's always studies coming out, University of Washington, and all the different universities about stuff that can mess up cancer, that messes up the cancer growth, that messes up the cell walls, that messes up the metastasis of cancer. So you don't really take information from one source, but you take information from several different sources and you put that together. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's kind of like how when you read and interpret the Bible and the scripture, you don't allow one verse to account for the whole Bible. It's the whole Bible that interprets one verse, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah. So tell us, what was your ambush? What did you do?
That was a good bit. That was a good bit. Now to talk about that, let's start with the diet. So what was the diet like? The first 2 years was very serious. No cheating, no nothing. I mean, it was pretty serious. I ran different protocols, different aspects of my diet. I was always rotating, so I'm not eating asparagus every day. Excuse me, not asparagus, broccoli. I'm not eating broccoli every day. I'm rotating different stuff. Just to give you an idea. And again, this is only tip of the this is only tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to it. But in the morning, I normally eat oatmeal, which is also another source of protein, and preferably some type of organic dried food, no sugar added, which is part of the Gerson protocol. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. With that, just drink a healthy amount of water. Now, aside from that protein first thing in the morning, I'd also focus on carrot juice. Carrot juice is one of the most important protocols I've had. I've heard all the studies I've read just say nothing but great things about carrot juice. I know a lot of people, if you go on the Crispy Cancer website, they got people that have survived cancer, especially pancreatic cancer. And one of the common denominator between them all is they all did carrot juice.
Now,
The first 2 years, yeah, the first 2 years I would drink anywhere from between 10 and 12 pounds of carrots a week. Sounds expensive, but it's actually kind of affordable. Walmart has a pretty good deal on it. You can get juicers at Walmart. They're not too bad. But the idea and the concept that you're going for is you want to overdose on nutrients. The FDA establishes daily values for stuff. I have no faith in that system. When you're fighting cancer, you're fighting a serious illness like COVID or something like that. You want to overdo it on nutrients. Now, aside from carrot juice, a couple different things on that. The one aspect of carrots, you can juice little small bottles, put them in your refrigerator, and about every couple hours you drink a 6 ounce glass. You can do it that way, or just drink the whole thing down. I would just drink the whole thing down. Snacks, of course, fresh fruits, nuts, shakes. I went through a lot of shakes. Bananas, apples, oranges, blueberries, anything I got laying around, throw that in a bullet blender, mix it up, and drink it down. What's important about that, especially with gastrointestinal cancers, especially if you're taking chemo, your ability to absorb food is going to be weakened. But if you use a blender to chew that food up a little bit and make it easier for you to absorb those nutrients, that's just a win. That's just going to make it better for you. Let me see, lunch. Salad is super important. That's probably one of the other biggest parts of my diet is salad. I know Crispy Cancer, he does leafy greens on his salads. I prefer spinach for 2 reasons. The first reason is spinach is a form of protein. There's actually protein in spinach, not a lot, but there's some. And the second is it actually affects your body alkalinity. It makes you more alkaline. So you got this huge bowl of spinach, and then you're throwing whatever veg you got in there. Definitely a lot of cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are all cancer fighters. That's your cauliflower, your broccoli, that kind of stuff. I might take some onions and put them in the air fryer for a second and cook them up, and then throw that in there too. Just anything and everything you got in the fridge. So you do that. And then turmeric. Oh my goodness gracious. Can't talk enough about turmeric. Turmeric has an active ingredient called curcumin, which also curry has the same thing, it has curcumin. Your active agent that helps it along is pepper. When you eat your salads, you want to have it with a lot of turmeric. You want to put as much turmeric on there as you can. Turmeric, studies have shown that turmeric stops metastasis. It slows it down, sometimes stops it. It also shows that it weakens the cell walls of some cancers. I mean, oh my gosh. I eat so much turmeric with the Gerson soup that I will reek of turmeric. My wife hates it. Yeah, I stink, and I don't do it every day. I don't reek of turmeric every day. Just I cycle on it and I cycle off of it. So now so you got that turmeric on there. Salad dressing is real easy. 3-ingredient salad dressing. A good organic olive oil, which has phenols, good for you. Apple cider vinegar, and maybe a little Dijon organic, no sugar added, Dijon mustard. You take that, put it in a little cup, mix it up, emulsify it. You put that over your salad, and you're good to go. Added benefits to that salad as well. If you can put some broccoli sprouts in there. Broccoli sprouts, excuse me, are loaded with sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is a cancer fighter. Let me see.
I've heard
There's
about
about the same thing.
the broccoli sprouts. I
Yes.
I want to go back to because here we are, we hear that you got to be careful what you put into your body. Some people are worried about eating fruits. You said making a smoothie with fruits, but when we were talking, you mentioned that you use an app to scan your food before you purchase it.
I do. It's funny how much stuff I remember, but I can't remember where I got it from. Yuka is an app that I use that gives you the background of what food you're actually buying. So that's the app, and excuse me, that's the app. And basically you scan the food and it tells you what's in it. It's actually a European app because Europeans don't like American food because we put too much stuff in it. It's a good way, especially make sure you're tracking on any type of preservatives or any of that stuff that might be in your food.
Okay, so the Yuka, we use that too. That's something that, what's that?
And Bobby approved.
Oh, and Bobby Approved too is another app that we found.
Yeah.
And so just to clarify, if you scan labels going through the grocery store, it will tell you what kind of toxins it is. It'll give it a rating from 0 to 100, and you'll be surprised, even going through Whole Foods, how much bad food is in there. The lower the rating, the worse the toxins in it, but it tells you exactly what toxins are in it and what it does to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Another food that I want to mention is Gerson soup. Gerson, just for a moment, talk about Dr. Gerson. Dr. Gerson was a physician back from the 1920s. Now I know we're going back a bit, but sometimes there's a lot of lessons to be learned, not looking forward to studies, but sometimes you can look backwards to studies. Now Gerson, what he did is he made what's called a Gerson soup. If you go on to Crispy Cancer, he's got a really good study on there that shows what they did is they dripped vegetable extracts onto petri dishes filled with cancer. So certain cancers react differently to different vegetable extracts. In my case, my favorite veg, of course, is garlic, onion, leeks, and Brussels sprouts. So the gherkin soup, I kind of modified a little bit, but gherkin soup for me is a bunch of, you want to chop it up kind of fine, leeks, onions, bell pepper, potato, and just a ton of turmeric and curry, maybe a little cumin in there. And you want to cut up everything kind of small, and then you put cold water on it and you simmer it. You can't not boil it. If you boil it, you lose a lot of your nutritional value. But you cook that up, and it makes a really good stew. However, if you take a stick blender to it, it's even better, and it's easy. It's easier for the body to absorb.
Wow.
Let me see. One thing I want to mention, dessert. I mean, how do you do the dessert thing? My favorite, and I'm just going to throw this one out there, is I kind of like Frosties. So what you can do is you can, again, take a bullet blender. You can throw a couple frozen bananas in there, a couple tablespoons of organic cocoa powder, no sugar, and then a tablespoon of peanut butter, organic, no sugar. And then you mix that up with a little bit of water, and you kind of have to play with the water a little bit to get the right consistency, but you'll get to that frosty consistency. And it's pretty close from what I remember anyway. It's been a minute.
So you keep saying no sugar. Can you talk to us about sugar?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's two different classes of sugars. You've got your natural sugars, and then you've got your man-made sugars. Like donuts, stuff like that. You got to stay away from those because your body, your pancreas is not designed to handle that much sugar. Um,
Yeah.
my stepson loved him to death. He loves Coke. I had to sit down. I showed him once. I took a can of Coke and I put a shot glass next to it full of sugar to help him understand, okay, this one Coke has 40 grams of sugar. This is what your pancreas has to work with. I mean, you got to stay away from it. Highly recommend that's why it's natural sugars are okay, but it's what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? The granulated sugars or processed sugars that you want to stay away from. Honey's a good thing.
Honey's a good thing?
Honey's a good thing. I usually drink, I'm doing a thing on green tea now. I was drinking a lot of water when I go to work, but now I take this huge, ginormous jug of green tea with me, organic green tea. I fill that up, let it do cold brew overnight, and then I'll put a couple tablespoons of honey in there and just kind of drink that throughout the day. Green tea,
Okay.
of course, is loaded with, I believe it's phenols.
And what does the phenol do?
Phenol fights cancer.
Nice.
That's a good thing. A lot of the stuff that we get from fighting cancer comes from cultures that really don't have a whole lot of cancer. Okinawa, certain tribes in Pakistan, especially up in the mountains that are away from civilization, they don't have a fast food joint where they can get food, but they're actually eating natural ingredients, drinking natural water. Cancer is almost non-existent. So a lot of the stuff that we're learning now about fighting cancer comes from them.
Can you go back to talking about fasting?
Fasting. Yes, absolutely. Fasting is a very, very important protocol, especially for any type of gastrointestinal cancer. Any cancer dealing with liver, stomach, pancreas, any of that stuff. Fasting, different types of fasts. There's liquid diets and all that stuff. I normally fast, just do water fast, maybe a cup of coffee now and then. But fasting is not, you don't want to start out doing 7 days. You have to give, one of the things I did right, looking back on it, is I built up to it. I would start out 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and then I was able to work up to 7 days. Fasting, what you're doing with fasting is you've got 20 or 30 feet of stomach lining going on there, and food is the whole time food is traveling through, and you got these, think of it like a factory worker. You got guys and they're taking care of it, they're breaking down this food, getting nutrients from it, and as that food goes through, more food, it's just constant flow of food going through. We'll shut that off. And then you got all these factory workers that are just kind of sitting around going, well, what do we do now? Well, they start fixing stuff. And so the body, it takes all that energy that you were using in order to process that food and it puts it somewhere else. Okay, well, here's a pancreatic tumor. Let's work on that for a while. And it's not that bad. I mean, you're hungry for the first day, but the second and third day, it's not too bad. One of the bad parts about one of the bad things about it is you can't be really active. You can't, go to the gym and or run 5 miles or whatever when you've been fasting for 3 days, because obviously you're run out of energy pretty quick. You want to conserve your energy and try to do minimal stuff because all the basically you're living off reserve energy. But as soon as you start eating again, which I almost forgot to mention that energy will come back real quick. One of the most important aspects of fasting is what you eat before and what you eat after. When you eat before fasting, you don't want to go and eat like fast food or something like that. You want to eat something really good because that's going to be in your system for a while. When you're finished fasting, you want to eat something really good that your body can absorb. Anytime I did a fast, I always, when it's time for me to break a fast, I would usually use maybe carrot juice. 15 minutes later, do like a shake, and then maybe half hour later, do a salad. Unless I'm really starving, then I'll kind of eat it, But yeah,
So
I can't. I highly recommend fasting.
that's good.
So, what else you got?
Well, my other question was, okay, so here you didn't get the love from the doctors. You found crispy cancer. You went through his modules and you found what you believed was going to work for you. How did you know it was working?
I don't know it was working. Well, I dropped weight quick. Man, at that time, if you look at some of the pictures, especially some of the ones you posted, I was a big old boy. Um, the one where the picture of me on the beach, I was a hoss back in those days. But now I went from 280 to 210. I lost about 70 pounds. Um, the the different aspects of the crispy cancer stuff, when you put them together, it really helps you to draw you drop weight, but at the same time you're regaining a ton of energy. How I knew it was kind of working is I started getting all this energy that I just don't know where it came from. I started getting a lot of energy. I started feeling better. I started thinking better. The fitness. I started at that time. I mean, the chemo tore me up pretty good. I'd walk around the block nice and slow. That's how I started. Well, okay, the next day maybe we'll do two blocks, walking real slow. And then I went to 3 blocks, 4 blocks. Okay, well, let's go ahead and try a mile. Well, then I got bored with walking, so I started running. And before you know it, I'm running 8 miles. So, became a very, very avid runner. I just started feeling really good. Um, that and the body just seemed to work really, everything I just started feeling better. The a lot of the supplements and a lot of things you do with crispy cancer and a lot of things you eat, they're not just anti-cancer, but their overall health as well. I've got severe arthritis in both my knees and my back. The turmeric works to alleviate a lot of the stuff you go through with arthritis. My back felt a little bit better, my knees felt a little bit better, and it made it so I could run. Can't run fast, but slow jog.
So this type of lifestyle is not just to keep cancer away or to shrink tumors, but it can help with arthritis and other illnesses from what I have been researching as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. All you're doing is you're going back to the garden. Uh, our ancestors were not meatitarians. I mean, they ate a lot of meat, they'd, go kill something, throw it in a fire and eat it. But a lot of what they ate was vegetables and stuff they would forage. Foraging with our ancestors, that was just a way of life, as well as fasting. You didn't always have food. So a lot of a lot of things we're finding now, like I said before, is we're not really looking forward, we're looking back to what our ancestors did, and a lot of it just really makes sense.
And the Mediterranean diet is that, right? It kind of goes back to, okay,
Absolutely, absolutely. If you look at the Mediterranean diet, excellent example. It's all about, the good olive oil, tomatoes, hummus. We were talking about hummus earlier. A lot of good stuff going on with hummus, a lot of good studies out there. The olives, that's another one. If you look at the Mediterranean diet, you'll find that it's not really all about meat, but it's a lot of stuff going on with veg.
gotcha. So I want to go back to fitness. You
Mhm.
said you were running. How important is fitness when you're fighting this?
Fitness is really important, and the reason fitness is so important is that in order to fight with cancer, right? You've got your T cells and you got glutathiones. T cells are the good guys. T cells are kind of like white blood cells. So basically, T cells they're in your system. They're fighting cancer, and you also got glutathiones, which your liver produces that helps fight the cancer. So when you work out, you're moving your tissue, you're improving your circulation. So what you're basically doing is you're taking those T cells, that glutathione, all that stuff that fights cancer, and you're pushing it through your system. You're increasing your circulation when you do that. Along with that, you're also reducing stress, and it just makes you feel better. Every time you work out, if you're a bodybuilder, you feel really good after a workout. Well, a lot of that's endorphins. Endorphins that only does great things for you.
Mhm.
Can't I highly, highly recommend a good exercise routine. It's not really optional. You have to have a good exercise routine. You have to get up off the couch. You have to move. You can't, sit on the couch and stay on your phone. You gotta be a very active person.
That makes sense. And you're
Which
inspiring me to
my wife loves it. It gives her it helps out the honeydew list. So
ah. Are you taking notes? So tell me, when did you get any scans when you see you're dropping weight, you're feeling better? Did you get scans to see how the tumors were doing?
yes, I did. I haven't been scanned in a while. I've got a scan coming up here in the next couple of months. The initial scans, of course, the pancreatic tumor, that was 10 centimeters by 8 centimeters, I believe. It's about kind of egg shaped. The tumor located on my liver, there was actually a couple of them. Um, yeah, that wasn't, those weren't good. The rest of them, the one on the adrenal gland, the one on the kidney was very small. Um, the next scan I had after I took the chemo, I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not already, but the scan I took after chemo, my pancreatic tumor actually grew.
It
It actually got
grew,
bigger.
grew
So
from the chemo.
yeah, it grew from the chemo. Excellent.
Wow.
So, which is another reason that I switched up. My last scan I had, the pancreatic tumor reduced to 7 meters on one side, and the other side they couldn't measure it, which
Oh,
tells me it's probably, it's instead of being, you know, just kind of thinning out. That's all.
wow.
The great news is I got back my liver. That huge win, huge win.
Yeah, because
The spot they found one little bitty spot on my liver, but it's too small to measure. The spot on my adrenal gland, again, maybe I think it was like 1 centimeter, so it's super tiny. It's small, about the size of a pea. So I am in remission. I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. It may the most important aspect is, like I said before, talking about mission. What was my mission? Stop metastasis and then get into remission. So I stopped the metastasis, I stopped the growth. Now it's remission time. One of the things that Crispy Cancer said, and it just stuck in my mind. It stuck in my mind because I'm like, well, I'm probably going to be that guy. He said, sometimes it takes years to go into full remission. It takes years for a tumor to completely go away. And I think that might be my case. It might be a couple of years before this tumor actually shrinks down. Um, but yeah, what other questions you got?
Well, I'm
These are
just
really good questions.
well, I'm amazed that you that it shrunk so much. That's wonderful. Made my eyes water when you said that.
I'm only
I
getting
want
started.
I wanted to know, you talked a little bit about some alternate medications that you've used. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Now, talking about different supplements. Um, let me see. Apricot seeds. These guys right here. Apricot seeds are loaded with B17. B17 contains a compound that does kill cancer. Apricot seeds are interesting because they do contain cyanide, but they also contain biotin. The biotin interacts with cyanide and they're fine to eat. However, you can't eat a whole lot of them. You can, according to, I think the instructions on this packet say you can only eat 3 seeds a day because it will make your stomach sick. I'm up to 12 a day. Because I've been taking them so long. I started out with 3 a day, then went to 6 a day, then went to 9 a day. But I take three, somewhere between 3 and 4, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um, but that's an excellent. I mean, it's easy too and very affordable. Now let me think here. Another one, and this one's a little bit strange, is fenbendazole. Fenbendazole. I got the idea, and there it is. This is called Pancure C, and yes, it is dog dewormer. So where did I get that from? There's a guy. His website is My Cancer Story Rocks, and the story with him is he had stage 4 lung cancer, fully metastasized. He had less than 30 days. Prominent hospital in Houston told him that you got less than 30 days. I mean, it was covering his lungs. He didn't know what to do. He started doing research, and what he found is that there was a a doctor, I believe it was OSU. I want to say it was Oklahoma State University. And what he did is he had a bunch of lab rats and they had cancer and he was giving them dog dewormer. And what he found is their cancer went away. So, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the gentleman on My Cancer Story Rocks, he started taking it. And 45 days later, his scans got better and continued to improve. I've been taking fenbendazole, maybe 2 years now. I'm not the only one. There's another guy on south side of Shreveport. He's taking it too. He actually started out with a softball-sized tumor, and he's last I heard he was about down to half.
Wow.
There are some side effects. I'm down to about 1 box of milk bones a week, so I'm getting there.
Of milk bones a week?
Sorry,
That's a
but
good one.
yeah, you can't go wrong with it. It's kind of weird, but I've been taking it for a while and I haven't had any issues. I only take the 1 gram.
You can get it a little cheaper, or at least cheaper than what I found on Sanar Labs,
Yep.
SANAR, and you can get like the bigger bottles. So,
Mhm.
sorry.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amazon, they have a
Mm.
pretty good deal. Um, but it's not bad. Again, I highly recommend, just because that the guy on My Cancer Story Rocks had lung cancer. I recommend that one for anyone who has lung cancer. Now, will it help out with pancreatic cancer? It remains to be seen. Now, another supplement which is really super easy to get a hold of is D3. So what is D3? D3, your body makes it. You actually make your own D3. How do you make D3? Go out and get some sunshine, get a tan. When the ultraviolet radiation hits your skin, it causes your body to make D3 and vitamin D. That just helps your body to work on killing cancer. It also helps to make you more alkaline. Let me see. Another supplement that I want to mention is black seed oil. Black seed oil, I've done several iterations about black seed oil. There's a good study that came out of MD Anderson that said that it is good for some cancers. Some pancreatic cancer patients did go into remission taking black seed oil. Um, Black seed oil is pretty tough to take. The only thing I could compare it to is maybe 40 weight oil for trucks. It's rough. It's real rough to take. Another supplement that I want to mention and this kind of goes back to the vegan thing, is B12. Now, what is B12? B12 is a supplement that you can only get from animals. I mean, there are some in shiitake mushrooms, but B12 is hard to get. I didn't know about B12. I learned that one the hard way. I went in for blood work about a year and a half into being a full-blown vegan. And they said, hey, your B12 is critically low. We got to put you, I mean, we need to give you shots. What does B12 do? B12 helps you coagulate blood. B12 helps you with your nervous system as well. So you've got, if you go full vegan, like I did, you've got two different choices. Either you can take a supplement, you can get it at Walmart, it's very cheap. You can do that, or just eat a couple eggs. B12 is stored in your liver. What I did is I did the supplements. There's some studies that came out about B12 supplements. I'm kind of waiting for more stuff to come out so I can read up on it. But for the time being, every once in a while, I will eat a couple eggs just to make sure I have B12 in my system. Another one I started, a new one, is castor oil. Castor oil, there's some stuff out there that says that castor oil will work to break up tumors. It also increases circulation in your skin. Topical use, putting it on your skin, not drinking it necessarily.
So it'll make us ladies look like we're 30 again?
Actually, my wife has started using it. She started using it too, especially like right around her eyes. I'm the guinea pig. I've started using it a little bit just to see if it'll do anything out of pure curiosity, but you know.
I love that. I have a question, and we're getting some questions in the chat that we're gonna get to your questions, I promise you. I want to know, how has this journey been on your family and your marriage?
Only brought us closer together. My wife, she is so awesome. She is a cancer fighting machine. She's had breast cancer a couple times. That reminds me, I wanted to mention this, that I'm not anti-chemo. My wife, she has used chemo to fight breast cancer, and in her case, it worked. In my case, it would put me in the grave.
Yeah.
But with her, chemo, that did it. Yeah, chemo works for her. But it's only brought us close together as a family. And it's been a long road. She's been nothing but supportive. I cannot say enough good things about her and how supportive she's been with me, even though sometimes I reek of turmeric. So, you know, that I've always got, carrot stains on my mustache, and that's gross.
No hugging during those weeks, right?
Exactly. No, you reek of turmeric, just go away. We'll do a virtual hug.
I want to know too, there's people on here and that will see this, that they're tired and they're overwhelmed. What would you say to them?
That excellent question. That kind of brings me to my next point: attitude and discipline. When I was a soldier in the Army, doing what I did, it was tough, and it only took that one soldier with a bad attitude would ruin it for everybody. But when I had a team that I could work with and everyone had a good attitude, there was nothing we couldn't do. I mean, just machines. And the same thing when, doing convoys in Iraq. I had some excellent airmen, and having a good attitude is just, it's so important. And that's where I got my I don't know if you call it my catchphrase, but the too easy thing. No matter how bad it gets, hey, it's too easy, we got this. There's a certain attitude that I want you to have. What I would say to them, anyone that's just tired, Crispy Cancer kind of touches on that before I give him my recommendation on it, but Crispy Cancer touches on that. One of the first things you have to do before starting your fight with cancer is you have to decide if you want to fight or if you don't want to fight. And it's totally understandable if you don't want to fight. But if you do want to fight, it's time to get into the fight. And this is the attitude I want you to have. This is something my dad taught me, is that don't you dare judge me by how hard I get knocked down. Judge me by how fast I come up swinging. That's the attitude I want you to have. Even though when it's rough, you get up, you fight. You just eating salads, staying active. This is easy stuff. You just all you gotta do is sit down at a computer, do your research. Okay. I have bladder cancer. All right, I need to know everything I can possibly know about bladder cancer. Get on the NIH website, type in bladder cancer and start reading stuff that comes up. Find survivors out in the community that beat bladder cancer. But that would be the message I'd like to convey to them.
I like that. Too easy. So
Yes, ma'am.
is that how you felt about tackling the cancer? Oh, this is too easy. I got this once you knew what to do?
When I was in the Army, I went through a couple schools. And one of the schools I went through, all you had to do, we started out in our specific team, we started out with 60 individuals and we got down to 12.
Don't worry about all that stuff. Just put your feet on it. It's okay.
Yeah, we went from 60 to 12. All you had to do in that school is just simply say 2 words, I quit. I still hate saying those words to this day, but all you'd have to do is say those 2 words and you were done. You disappeared. And it was amazing. In 2 weeks, we got down to 12 people. It's just so important to have that mindset.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing if I can get,
Yeah.
hey, Debbie.
Miss Lisa, did that answer your question?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to get Debbie to mute. I can't mute her for some reason.
Oh, that's okay.
Can you say that last part again? Because I did not hear that.
Where is it?
It's just
You are. We can't go.
going to that school and having that mindset.
Well, my
not
sister-in-law came from Birmingham.
Yeah.
She has decided to sell
Hold on a
the
minute.
place at the lake
It's
because
okay.
nobody's using it, and it'll just go down if nobody ever uses it.
Right.
She's getting close to 80, and there's only one grandkid that would go, and she can't go because she works. So,
Elizabeth, you need to mute.
I think
sorry.
No, it's Debbie.
I
Yeah.
need to hang up, I guess.
It's all good.
Or it is, yeah, it is Elizabeth. Okay, I got her. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, no problem. But anyway, it was that mindset that I got from going to schools in the Army, just not quitting. I mean, if cancer takes me, then I'm going to die on my feet standing up. It's not going to be, it's not how I was created. It's not how God made me. And that's where a lot of this stuff came through. And I think a lot of it has to do with why I'm doing well now.
Now, do you want to share your final thoughts now or after questions?
I'd like to do it after questions if I could.
Sure. Is there anything else you want to share before we get into the questions?
Put God first in everything you do. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Everything else is fighting cancer. You have to live aside from God, aside from taking care of your family. You have to live, breathe, talk, fight cancer. That is just so important. Everything I've discussed during this podcast is really just the tip of the iceberg. I could talk for hours about different things and different treatments, and there's so much more I could discuss, but we just don't have time. But the idea is to show you that if you get on that NIH or you get on that crispy cancer thing, there's so much. The 10 modules he has. You can take that information and write it down, and it's only going to make you stronger. Talk to people in your community. I kind of already touched on that, but I want to touch on that one more time. Talk to people in your community. I've got a guy. There's a gentleman right around the corner that he had pancreatic cancer too. He beat it again with diet. I already talked about the pan-cured dog dewormer guy on the south side of town. He's doing good. And questions. That's all I can think of at the moment.
I do have one more question before we
Yes,
open.
ma'am.
You mentioned to me when we were talking before this about, oh goodness, I'm going to butcher it. that the people that are living with cancer and healing themselves holistically, there's a lot more than we know. And you said the reason for that is what?
Survival rates. If you go on Google, and just look up your survival rates, it's going to be horrible. According to Google, I should have been dead like 6 years ago, I think. And for those who don't know, if I haven't mentioned it before, I had the terminal cancer diagnosis 4 years ago. I don't think I mentioned this before, but when I was given the terminal cancer diagnosis, like I said before, I was very upset. The wife was very upset. At that point in time, they were saying maybe 2 weeks. At best, you have 6 months. And that was 4 years ago. One of the things that you're going to find, and that I have found again and again and again, is all these numbers they have about this group of people that has cancer. Well, they didn't make it. They didn't make it. That's coming from a lot of different hospitals. What I've found that a lot of times that people will heal cancer, they'll figure out how to do it themselves. They'll beat cancer and they kind of fall off the grid. So what about person A, B, C, or D? They didn't go back to the oncologist. Why? Because they're just trying to kill them. Or they decided not to go the chemo route because it's just, they're, well, I can go home and I can fix this. Or I can try and fix this. So does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm going to go to the very top
Ladies
of
and
the
gentlemen.
chat. Yeah, let's go to the top of the chat. Nikki mentioned, Nikki here is a registered nurse, and she mentioned that Western medicine practice is not very accepting to alternate therapies. Do you want to, you commented a little bit about that, but do you want to dig in a little bit more?
Yes. Again, I'm not anti-chemo, anti-radiation, anti all that stuff, but they're doing stuff in other countries that we kind of need to look at and pay attention to. The stuff that other countries are doing that don't have the pharmaceutical stuff that we got going on. Natural remedies, natural cures. There's a lot going on there. And thank goodness we got the internet so we can look at that information coming out. The dog dormer thing, the fenbendazole, that's old news in South America. I'm sorry, I can't remember where I read this at, but fenbendazole is actually being used for anti-cancer down in South America. There's a lot of cancer treatment places. There's a couple cancer treatment places in Mexico that will work to treat Gershon clinics, that's what they're called, that will work to treat cancer. Granted, it's very expensive, but they will do the same thing. A lot of the stuff that they'll do is the same stuff that I was talking about here. But yes, green tea, drinking lots of green tea, eating clean, drinking good water. I forgot to mention water. If I take a strip and check the alkalinity of my water, it rates at 4.7, which is almost acidic, and that's water coming out of the tap. Not good. So the water I drink, though, I just get water from Music Mountain, and it rates at consistently a 7.6, which means it's alkaline. I drink a lot of that water.
So is that,
what's that?
I'm sorry. So I wanted to touch on that. Acidity in your body versus low acidity in your body, where should you be?
Great question. There's a lot of studies out there that shoot down the alkalinity thing. For a good time, for a good spell there's a lot of people saying that alkalinity, being more alkaline, will kill cancer because it won't enable cancer to grow. And there's a lot of studies that came out that they said, no, that's not true. That's false. Alkalinity doesn't affect anything because your body has a natural balance to where it sits. When I started reading some books, started doing some research, and I actually got into the alkalinity. Testing strips with my own urine, I found out that my urine was about a 5 to 6, actually more like a 6 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found that when I eat right, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, especially if I'm taking additional calcium supplements like D3 supplements, stuff like that, my alkalinity will actually increase to 8 or 9, which Cancer can't grow in that environment. So that's one of those things where I do it is, hopefully it's something that'll help out with my fight. Do the studies actually support it? Not so much, but there's some books out there. It's something worth taking a look at and researching.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No problem.
Abby, I know you touched on this, but Abby asked what you put in the shake. Can you tell us that real quick again?
Yes, the shake, start off with 2 bananas. You need that potassium. 2 bananas, apple, throw an apple in there, oranges, any type of citrus stuff you got laying around, and then gosh, any type of fruit, grapes, grape skins, dark grapes are always the best, and just whatever kind of fruit you got laying around. You throw that in there, mix it up, and then again, chewing it up and letting the blender do the work for you, and then throw it down.
Okay. And then you said the one that tastes like a Frosty is the peanut butter, banana, and some cocoa, sugar-free cocoa powder.
Yes, ma'am.
I like Frosties.
I do too, and that's legal. We can get away with that. Oh, another thing that I want to mention is I'm not sure if it was covered in the introduction, but I have not had meat in 4 years.
Can you talk? I was going to ask you about that. Talk to me or talk to us about meat.
No meat, no steak, no fish, no chicken, no turkey, none of that. The only type I've had is a few eggs now and then, and that's for that B12. But all the meat stuff, I just won't do it. A lot of it deals with making sure I'm completely cutting off the food source from cancer. And a lot of that deals with your fats. I want to make sure that I just completely cut that stuff off. Will I continue to do that? It just depends on what my scans say. At some point I would like to have chicken again, but the good part about my cancer is it's a slow grower. However, the bad part is it likes to sneak up on people. It actually comes back. I've read studies on that where you have someone that completely beats pancreatic cancer, and then they go back to eating hamburgers and French fries and steak and all that good stuff, and then 2 or 3 years later it'll come right back. So unfortunately, I'm going to be pretty close to being a vegan for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Maybe when I get clear scans, maybe a cheat meal now and then, but very rare.
Okay. So what is it about meat that makes it so dangerous?
A lot of it deals with the fats. Cancer feeds off that kind of stuff. And I think that's what got me in trouble in the first place, is I was consuming way too much meat and not enough veg. The saturated fats, monosaturated fats, all that stuff. It does something to your insides. But yeah, that's just something you really got to watch out for.
Got it. Melissa asked, do you cut man-made sugar completely?
Yes, I sure did. It's the only food I can think of I might get a little tiny bit of sugar, and this is a gram or less, is some breads. But for the most part, I won't do man-made sugar at all. I completely cut that out. Just can't do it.
And again, man-made sugar breeds cancer as well?
I think it does. That's going off the crispy cancer stuff he's got on there. Just stay away from, no cakes, no brownies, none of that stuff.
Okay. What about dairy?
No dairy.
Is dairy same thing as sugar and meats?
Milk is loaded with sugar.
Okay. So yogurts, and what about creamer for coffee?
Nope.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That's all good. Too easy.
Too easy. Okay. When you say that, it just takes the stress off.
Yes, sometimes almond milk. Sometimes I will do that if it doesn't have any sugar in limited quantities, because there's some stuff coming out about almond milk now. It's you have to be real careful about that.
Okay.
And how it's processed.
Gotcha. Beth, your wife mentioned that it helped with your vision, with your eating.
Yes, carrots, lots of carrot juice. I don't need my glasses as much when I go through a lot of carrots.
This is
That's
good.
cartoony growing up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at Brooke is asking, are you using the rest of the Gershon method?
Not now, but I did. I've gone through a lot of the Gershon stuff, and I've used a lot of it.
Can you explain what that is? I know you touched on it that he's started this back in the 1920s. What's the rest?
I was referring to the coffee enemas that are not as fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was hoping we wouldn't really go there, but
Oh, sorry. We won't
no,
go
it's
there.
okay. It's okay. No,
I can
truth be
talk about
told,
it if you need
yes,
me to.
absolutely. I'm not. I kind of stopped, but I have. I more than I wish to ever think about. But yes, I have.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, I have. And you might wonder why. And why did I do that? Well, Chris Work, he did it too, but he stopped. The reason I did it is what you're doing basically is, putting coffee up your backside is you're waking up your liver. You're causing your liver to go, hey, what's going on? And when you do that, when you get your liver kind of woken up a little bit like that, it's basically I'm stimulating glutathione production, as well as making sure that everything's moving. Going to the bathroom is so absolutely important. It's something I'm glad you brought that up because something I forgot to mention. You have to go to the bathroom every day. I read somewhere that basically we are walking septic tanks. You have to go to the bathroom every day. And that's one of the great things about this diet is you will do that. When you eat as much vegetation as I do, and with all the other stuff that I eat, you will go to the bathroom every day. So, but yes, I have. You need to do your research on that. That you have to be careful with that. There's certain coffees you have to use, certain temperatures you have to use. But regretfully, yes, quite a bit.
Thank you. Mark is asking with the turmeric with omega, how many milligrams?
How many milligrams of turmeric? I don't normally measure it, but it's a lot. It is a lot of turmeric. That's, in the soups and the salads.
I guess it would go with shakes. Like how many shakes?
It's not really more of a shake, but more of a shovel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just kind of shovel it on there, but quite a bit. I would say if I was going to measure it, I would say somewhere between 2 and 3 tablespoons.
Okay.
as soon as you said that, Mark, I just right away, on the pocket computer, I went on Amazon and I'm looking at, the supplements. So I was just trying to compare that to a supplement, or you'd prefer the shovelfuls.
Yep. Yep.
So you prefer the sprinkle, the powder form?
Yes, I highly recommend powdered form, not the pills.
Okay.
And the reason I recommend powder forms is that you start absorbing turmeric when it hits your mouth. Back in my army days, I used to use smokeless tobacco when I was in the army. I quit it, I don't know, 12, 15 something years ago. But I noticed that when I used smokeless tobacco, it would hit my system like that. Same thing with turmeric. When your body starts to absorb turmeric when you start chewing on it. So that's why I highly recommend not doing the pills, but doing the actual putting it on your food.
Can I make a comment,
Yes, ma'am.
Lisa?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Hey, everyone. This is Beth. I'm Mark's wife. For comparison of his turmeric intake, I go to Sam's Club and get one of those really big things of turmeric in the glass jar, the organic turmeric, and he goes through about a full thing of it a week.
Wow.
Ish.
So just a little comparison for the amount of turmeric he's I would say it's way more than 1 or 2 tablespoons per salad. I would think more like half a cup, if not more.
No wonder that tumor shrunk.
Tumors don't like turmeric.
Wow. Shelly has a question. She's asking, do you know anything about taking inositol IP6 gold?
No, I don't, but I will research it. I'll take a look at that. What is that called one more time?
I don't know if I'm saying it wrong. I mean wrong, but it's inositol IP6 gold. Now I thought I saw Jennifer waving as if, unless she's leaving. But Shelley, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My mother has dementia, and we took her to the doctor this week, and she does have a lump in her breast, and breast cancer is pretty predominant in our family. She's 85 years old, lives in assisted living, and we just feel that there's no way she could do any traditional treatment. I don't even know that she could handle any kind of surgery. She's a very slow healer. Plus, with the dementia, we just don't think it would, be the best thing to do. So he had prescribed this inositol IP6 gold, and I ordered it off of Amazon. He also did talk about the wormers, that you talked about, things like that, would work versus trying to, do any kind of traditional therapy. The problem with her is she's not going to take a pill if it doesn't look right to her, so we're just kind of at a standstill on really what to do for her, or if there's anything possibly that we can even do other than try to, because we don't want to even tell her that she has cancer, because it will just, with her with dementia, it will just probably throw her in some kind of tailspin.
Man, what's her first name so I can put her on my prayer list?
Her name is Omega, Omega.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Thank you, Shelley. Brianna is asking if you put the castor oil on your liver at night.
Yes. Yes, that entire area. I put it on my liver, really liver, pancreatic area. Just kind of massage it in and then let it into sleep like that.
So that intrigues me. You're telling me you're pouring castor oil in your hand and rubbing it in that area?
Yes, ma'am. Massaging it in, so it just kind of, it's just an oil. Massaging it into that tissue so it can be absorbed, and then my wonderful wife, she actually got me the padding to actually. I was using an old T-shirt that obviously she wants me to throw away, but yeah, she actually got me the padding for it so I can put on the pad and then sleep with that on at night.
Okay. So a pad is something that you put the oil on and then just let it lay on you? Okay. And Brianna says she does the liver packs and Brooke does the liver packs as well. Interesting. Thank you, ladies, for sharing that. Now, your wife brought up about your sleep schedule. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. Sleep is so important. That's when the body really has a chance to kind of start fixing stuff. I made myself sleep 8 to 10 hours a night, every night for the last couple of years. Ever since my diagnosis, it was a protocol that I found that was easy to do. I would go to bed early and then get up early and make sure I just had really, really good sleep. You know, I mean, that's when your body really starts fixing stuff.
Mhm.
Does that mean I'm out at 3 o'clock in the morning doing? No, no. Go to bed about 8 and then get up maybe 5 or 6. Make sure you get that good solid 8 to 10 hours.
Nice. Melissa asked, what resources helped you the most as far as diet and lifestyle?
Diet and lifestyle, crispy cancer. That was probably the biggest resource that really helped me out. A lot of it was stuff I picked up over the years. And of course, the NIH studies, learned a lot from that. And several books I've read that also helped. Just multiple resources. But really the foundation is that website.
So you brought up NIH a few times. That's the National Institute of Health.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to put that in the comments in the chat so everybody can see that. And if you click on it, it'll be on your computer or it'll be in your phone.
Yep, NIH. NIH.gov.
All right, I'm going back to the, did you said you had a question, Adam?
I do.
Go ahead.
What is your protocol and procedures for picking vegetables? All organic? You not all organic? How do you prep them? How do you prepare, clean them? All that kind of stuff.
Follow the sales. Being vegan and eating a lot of veg, organic, some organic veg can get kind of expensive. What I do is I normally just follow whatever seasonal. Right now blueberries are a lot of blueberries are on sale right now. I go through a lot of those. As far as prepping, try to eat raw as much as possible. Red onions, awesome. Cabbage, I go through a lot of cabbage. Another really good one is cabbage that's been
Fermented
aged. Sorry.
sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut.
That just does nothing but great stuff for your guts. Frozen fruit, that's fine too. A lot of that retains nutritional value. Just make sure you wash everything really well before you eat it. Some veg you have to cook. Brussels sprouts are a good example. It's taken me a couple of years to get to where I can eat raw Brussels sprouts. It's tough on the stomach to be able to eat those. They'll kind of mess you up a little bit. Or at least with me, it kind of upset your stomach a little bit because they're pretty stout. Let me see. That's all I can really think of as far as the fruit and the veg. Organic if you can, but really, it depends on your personal preference and what's seasonal as well.
And do you wash them with the what do we do? Vinegar and baking soda?
Sometimes I wash them. It just kind of depends on how they look. But yes, I do wash them.
What's your other?
Do you have a preference of manufacturer for multivitamin supplements? Is there one to-go company that you trust and you've researched and like this is who I'm going to buy from?
No.
No.
Sorry.
No, you
I wish there was. That's a really tough one because everything's so manufactured, everything's so processed. It's hard to. There was a one I used to take called Maximum Greens. You can find it at GNC. But other than that, really the majority of the nutrients I get is from food because I eat a ton of veg.
Okay.
So it's really, yeah. I just don't take anything. I wish there was a good vitamin out there that again, it's just looking at studies. It's something else I need to research a little bit and see if there is a really good one out there.
There is a fresh coral thing that he was very specific on only ordering. It was a Japanese one, honey.
Yes, coral calcium. Coral calcium. That one deals more with that one I do trust, and that deals more with alkalinity. I will take that, a lot of coral calcium, and that it helps to put my alkalinity in check where I want it to be.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Back to the chat. Brooke said that I just read a John Hopkins study that Fenben success increases with 30%. I guess that's ivermectin, and she's asking if you did both.
If I did what?
If you did, go ahead, Brooke. You can ask him.
So they say that you go from 22% up to 55% success rate when you add Ivor with your Fenben, and I didn't know if you did both or just Fenben.
I just do Fenben.
Okay.
But I'm gonna look into that though. That's a great little bit of info.
Well, and so with the amount of vitamins you're getting with your food too, that was the other rat study I've seen, is you drastically increase your success rate with Fenben with a really good amount of vitamins and healthy form of fats. But yeah, I've got a really good doctor who will do like the Fenben. He'll get, like, he sends that off. He'll send off Ivor, like all of it. No,
You have a
no
really good
problem.
doctor.
Yeah. Well, I've had really
That's
terrible surgeons, but I have a really great naturopath. So
good.
The next question is from David. David says he's a retired Air Force. Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
He's been recently diagnosed with high prostate cancer. How many days do you fast? 3 days? A doctor the other day told me to go vegan.
Yeah, that's that's kind of a gastrointestinal cancer. With that, fasting, you just take it nice and easy and start out slow. Go 24 hours, and then work up to 48, work up to 72. You want to fast at least once a month, but it really depends on your personal preference and how you feel during the fast. I mean, if you're getting to the point where you stand up and you're feeling woozy, you're going to have to eat. At the beginning, when I started fasting, if I would have done a 7-day fast, it wouldn't have been good. It's something you have to adjust your body to and get used to it. But once you get used to it, it gets a lot easier. The hardest part is just getting through that phase where you can only do 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. So you just have to stick with it.
And I want to remind everyone what you said about that before is don't go out and eat fast food or, junk food before it. Eat healthy before, and then do your fast. And then again, start putting good things in there after, right?
Absolutely. You want to OD on nutrition before the fast, and then you want to replenish your system with nutrition at the end of your fast, when you break your fast.
That's good. Aubrey said, very true. She was frowned upon when she coupled holistic treatments along with her daughter's chemo, but she did it anyways and saw improvements. That's great, Aubrey.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. They'll still do the chemo. I mean, and like I said before, in some cases it helps, but they'll also do the vegan stuff, and it in a lot of cases it really does help. But that's awesome that it's working for her.
Yeah. Abby's asking, what about protein goals with no meat?
How do I get protein without any meat?
I think that's what that means.
Okay. Protein. Multiple sources. I get it from, if you remember the oatmeal in the morning, I get protein from that. Spinach, I get protein from that. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And then, of course, I get protein from eating a lot of beans. I eat a lot of beans.
And the hummus is the
And
garbanzo beans,
exactly.
right? That's great. David's asking again, Panicure C, how much do you take and how often?
I take 1 gram a day.
1 gram
That's
a
this
day.
guy right here. You see. There's just one little bitty pouch. No, what I recommend if you do decide using it as a protocol, what I would do is I would go on that website, My Cancer Story Rocks. I would get in touch with the guy and just ask him, hey, is there anybody else that has the same cancer that's taken it? I would get in touch with him and I would ask him.
I'm going to bring that up right now.
There's a really, sorry to interrupt again, there's a really good support group online called FinBin Cancer Support that has tons of really good information about protocols, dosage, all kinds of.
There you go.
I can't find My Cancer Story Rocks.
All one word.
All one word. My Cancer Story Rocks. There we go. Oh, it's mycancerstory.rocks. Awesome. I'm going to put that in the chat for anybody who wants to look at it.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. If you I emailed him. I haven't talked to him in forever, but yeah, last time I emailed him, he got back with me in like a day.
Wow.
So again, it's just reaching out those resources, find out what's going on. This is someone that he's, doing well. Next question.
Okay. David asked about almond milk. You did say you're using almond milk, but you've noticed some research coming out about some almond milk. Can you touch on that?
Regretfully, almond milk, all that stuff's still processed. So just have to be kind of careful with it and, just take a good look at it. Yucca app again, and make sure you're getting it from a good source. No sugar. Some of the almond milks, oatmeal stuff, they put a lot of sugar in that.
Okay. Very good.
But every once in a blue moon, but not very often.
Let's see. Mark, you say you do black coffee with local honey. I'll try that. It's hard for me to go no to black coffee, but I'm getting better.
It's something, excuse me, it's something you just have to kind of get used to, as well as the diet. One of the things that I remember Chris Work saying that I didn't believe, there's a couple things he said, I was like, no, One of them was your taste buds will change and you will crave salads. And I remember thinking, there is no way that I'm going to crave salads. And then 6 months later, I was craving salads. Your taste buds will change, and bananas, fruits, and all that stuff will taste different. They're actually going to taste better. How that works, I'm not exactly sure.
I think your body just gets rid of all the crud.
Exactly.
Brianna mentioned it's not so hard to be dairy free. I've lost count how many years she's been dairy free. Cynthia says, I agree that attitude matters. I was working with Beth when Mark was battling his, and she always was 100% positive, scared, but always positive. Cynthia says cancer was described by Egyptians back in 3000 BC. They've always known about it. Take care of your endocrine and cannabinoid, I can't say that, cannabinoid system. And then she mentions drinking baking soda once a week to balance your acid levels. Have you heard about that?
There is, I do not have the information in front of me, but there is a protocol out there for cancers where you mix molasses, and I believe it's baking soda, but it's a really old school protocol. I have done that protocol. But again, I don't have that information. You'd have to get back with me in order for me to give that information to you. But there is, again, that's kind of going back to the alkalinity thing. Now, do you want to limit the acid in your stomach? That's a difficult one to chew on. I'd highly recommend doing more research. Again, if you remember when we talked about salad dressings, I talked about apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, although it's an acid and you're swallowing it, it helps with the digestion of your food. It helps to digest all that salad and all that green stuff you're eating.
The apple cider vinegar helps the digestion?
Yes, because it's an acid. helps you
Wow.
break down food.
Okay. Tiana mentioned black pepper helps the biggest bang for your buck with the turmeric.
Yes, yes. Black pepper and turmeric are friends.
And why is that?
I don't have that in front of me right now, but there's something about it just helps the body absorb the turmeric better with the pepper.
Okay. Let's see. Tiana's asking, how do you keep it from ruining sheets and shirts? I believe that's the turmeric.
You don't ask my wife. She's still upset.
She's shaking her head no. Abby asked, is it as effective if you don't use a heat pack or don't have a cotton shirt on? I'm not sure what that meant. Is that the
Really, it's castor oil. Once it gets on your sheets, it'll
yeah.
mess up your sheets. The idea is once you put it on, you kind of want to isolate it so it doesn't mess up and stain stuff. No, I do not drink hydrogen water. Good question, though.
And then Abby also asked, are frozen organic fruit and veggies okay? You said the fruit was
Absolutely.
good. Okay.
Absolutely. Mr. Chris just brought up a question a little while ago. What was that one?
Chris Young, he said, people are asking questions about specific cancers. Ralph Moss wrote papers called the Moss Reports when he discusses research in holistic protocols. I heard about him on Crispy Cancer podcasts. I've not been diagnosed with cancer, so I haven't looked into finding the Moss report for a specific cancer. I don't know how to get them. If I were diagnosed with cancer, I'd research Moss reports for my specific cancer.
Yes, that's excellent. Excellent point. I would definitely write that down and take a look at it. Yes, Chris, Mr. Pastor Chris there, his health has improved though. He's done very impressive diet change as well. And his health has drastically improved over the journey of just trying to eat healthier.
Now, the last question about hydrogen water, that's making me think, is that water with oxygen in it, or is that something different?
I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really looked into it.
Okay.
I wish I knew more about that one, but there's so many different protocols out there, and it's I spent a lot of time trying to focus on how to make the stuff I'm doing more effective. But as far as really reaching out and looking at more protocols, I really don't want to get too much into it. I mean, a little bit, but not too much, because what I'm doing right now is working. Yeah, I'm still kicking. So
Yeah, you are still kicking. I think that's it for now. Are you ready for your final thoughts? And I'm wondering if you would close us in prayer. Would that be okay?
absolutely, absolutely. The final thoughts I've got is, and Mr. Pastor Chris there, he kind of alluded to it, is just focusing. Take a look at your specific cancer and do the research. It's good to know about, to have a general base what you can do to fight cancer, but also you have to have the initiative to go out and go after specific cancers and to learn. Knowledge is power. Go out there and find out about your specific cancer and how to take it on. Find out how to stop the metastasis and find out how to get into remission. Now, the one last thing I want to mention, this is probably the most important part of the podcast, and one thing I really want to touch on is that, you know, we talked about all this great stuff, dog dewormer and drinking right water, getting rest, and all these different protocols to help you fight cancer like I've been doing. But when you really think about it, we're only delaying the inevitable. At some point, we're mortal beings. At some point, we're going to be done here. And at some point, we're going to have to stand before God. And we're going to have to answer for a lot of stuff we do. And to make this really simple, I want to put this in a courtroom setting. At some point, all of us, including myself, I have to stand before God and I have to answer for all the horrible things I've done in this life. And trust me, I've got novels of things that I've done. I don't want to answer for that. I'm going to settle out of court. I have settled out of court. And that's through my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. When I meet God and I stand in judgment for him, he's going to look at me and he's going to see Jesus. When he looks at the cross that Jesus died on, he sees all the garbage and filth that I did. Jesus took care of that at the cross as a final sacrifice. I can't compel you enough. I can't implore you enough. Please settle out of court. Repent of your sin. Have faith that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, that he is the Messiah that's spoken of in the Bible. If you want any more information about that, please feel free to call me. Any of the cancer stuff. You guys are my friends now. So if you guys want information about more cancer stuff, or you want to see how I'm doing, you guys can contact me on Facebook. So, Miss Lisa, that is all I have. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I do, real quick before we go into prayer, I want to tell everyone that this video will be parked at Homes and Souls Facebook page, as well as this is a new creation for us, but Abby and Brianna and I started the Homes and Souls, and we're going to have a YouTube Homes and Souls as well, where this is going to be parked, but this is going to be shared with Mark, and he's going to have his own platform that you can start following him on, get all kinds of stuff. Yes. Yes. Yes, we will definitely post the links, David. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. David.
All right. Well, I am ready when you are.
Okay. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, God, we just can't praise you enough. We can't thank you enough, Lord, for your sovereignty and all that you do. Father, I just want to pray for all those in attendance, Lord, all those that are fighting cancer, Lord, to include Miss Amoeba. Father, I pray that you provide comfort and help, put your healing hand on her, Lord, and help her get better. Father, all the folks that have these different cancers, Father, I just encourage them, Father, that they'll do great things. Father, please forgive us for our sins when we fall short. Lord, we can't thank you enough for what your son did on the cross. As John 14:6 says, he is the way, the truth, and the light. No one comes to the Father except through him. Lord, please continue to watch over us and all these things. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Mark, thank you so much.
Anytime.
For being here. Yes. We might just have to pick your brain a little bit more in the future, if that's okay.
I'm an open book.
All right. I love it. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Follow us at Homes and Souls, and then we'll also put information on how to get to Mark as well. Everybody have a wonderful Sunday. Bye-bye.